AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Tim Meadows. You've heard the phrase out with the old and in with the new, right? Well, buckle up because Stand Up to Cancer's vehicle donation program makes it easy to turn your old vehicle into new life-saving cancer research. More than 2 million Americans hear the words, "You have cancer," each year. That's why Stand Up to Cancer is dedicated to funding cancer research focused on finding cures. Donating is easy, pickup is free, and your gift may qualify for a tax deduction. Visit standuptocancer.org/cars to learn more.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Tuesday morning, political fighters, and welcome to the June 30th, 2026 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278 is our number. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@wcpt820.com and follow me on all the socials under Choose Views. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views, featured interviews, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Patty Vasquez, Driving It Home, It's the Democracy, Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other great shows and interviews. And always hang around in the evenings because you can check out the Politics Bar, Matt McNeil's show, The Gailey Show. And then you can, when you get done with that, then you can say, okay, time to reset and make my way over to heartlandsignal.com so that I can find stuff that Richard told me to share with people because it's good stuff over there. Promise you, there's good stuff. Interviews that I recently had with Mayor Daniel Biss, and who's running for the congressional seat in the Illinois' 9th District. You can catch that interview there, segments of it. And Yusef Jackson, who is the president and CEO of the Rainbow Push Coalition, talking with me last week, and many, many others. So that's the place to be, to like and share and make sure that the people in your world know where to go. And that's heartlandsignal.com. We're going to have the lines open today because we're going to have another America at 250 question, and I'll drop on you in a little bit. But in the meantime, I want to just give a shout out to our man, Mike Darth Vader Mercado is back in the house. Good to see you, Mike. And again, just another thank you to everybody from Sunday with regard to the Pride Parade, our float, and all the rest. Because I thought, I know I said this yesterday, but I sat back and thought about this yesterday afternoon. It's like, that's a big event. And I don't know the numbers. Devin, maybe you do, maybe Mike, you do. But how many people, because I got some video from the Pride Parade in New York from, actually sent to me, Dana Goldberg sent that information to me. But how do you guys know how big our parade is, or what we have as an average over the past few years, by chance? 1 million? Wow, that's impressive. That's just so cool. But you know, the team effort really, to our team here, of course, but the folks who attended. I mean, I keep going back to so many folks that were not just on the street, Mike, but in their buildings, that were sitting out on their balconies, and some people were on rooftops. I mean, Devin, you saw it because you were part of the big production. But yeah, I mean, people on that's kind of cool. Folks on their rooftops and on their balconies, just hanging out and enjoying it. So kudos to Chicago for having, once again, another great month of Pride. I know today's the last, today's the last day of Pride, if you will, in terms of the monthly celebration. And I should know today is the 30th. But kudos to all that participated and made it the success that it was, and it keeps being year after year. And that's a really cool thing to be proud of in the city of Chicago. On today's show, America at 250 calls. We're going to have a question for you, and we want you guys to participate. And I'm going to talk about yesterday's question, and then again today's question. So we'll be taking your calls starting pretty much after we come back from the first break and going into the 6:30 to 7 hour, because we want to talk to you guys like we did yesterday about your thoughts on America at 250. And then in the 7 o'clock hour, we will have with us an interesting conversation with a gentleman, Nicholas Enrich, who is the former civil servant who worked for USAID under 4 administrations. And he's the author of a pretty revealing book called Into the Wood Chipper, a whistleblower's account of how the Trump administration shredded the USAID. And then in the 7:30 hour, one of our local community organizers, campaign strategist, just a progressive advocate, and someone that I've been following on social media and more specifically Substack, the Snarky Correspondent. Jody Martin will be with us at 7:30 to chat a little bit about what's happening with housing. And I'm in terms of some of the, I guess you could call them hot items, and that's this bill that the House is sent, I think, late afternoon yesterday to Trump's desk to sign on housing affordability and why it's being stalled as it relates to voting rights. So this ties into my conversation and panelists that I had on Saturday, the Ida B. Wells Festival. But also, Jody and I'll talk a little bit about an article that she posted recently that basically has taken housing hostage. So we'll have a chance to chat with her in the 7:30 hour. Let's yesterday's question of the day. So let's kind of do a little bit of a rewind, and then we'll go forward. Yesterday's question of the day was, from the 200th to the 250th birthday, what have been the pros and cons in America in those 50 years? That was yesterday's question, and you guys can still chime in on that today. If you had a thought about that yesterday that we weren't able to get you on the phone, then give us a holler today, and we'll talk about that. Send us a text, of course, and go to our Facebook page and leave your comments there. But that was yesterday's question. And interestingly enough, the interview that we had with Pastor James Gaillard, who's also a candidate for Senate in North Carolina, he actually wrote a really cool article that he posted on Substack regarding the question of the day. So that was pretty cool, Mike, that he posted yesterday on Substack about what's happened to America in that period of time. So check out his Substack. He's a great writer. James Gaillard, Pastor James Gaillard. You can Google him. You can go to Substack and find the article, and I highly recommend that you read it. It goes a little bit deeper into one of the things that he was talking about with what's happened in the country and things that we've got to be working on. And that then will be my jumping off point for our question of the day, and then we'll hit the break. Question of the day. Again, we're staying in this theme around America at 250. So yesterday's question was about the past, going back to 1976 and coming forward to 2026. So today's question is based on the past 50 years and what's happened to now. So we go back 50 years to 1976 to 2026. Do you, based on what's happened, based on the past 50 years to now, do you think that we will have a 300th birthday or celebration of democracy in 50 years? And that's not meant to be a fatalist question, but I'll ask it in two parts. Do you think that we will have a 300th birthday or celebration of democracy. And the second half of that is really kind of the key. Do you think that we will be celebrating a democracy in 50 years? So let us know. Kind of stage 2 of the question, from the 200 to the 250. Now let's look at 50 years out. There's many of us that probably won't be around because life expectancy will probably not be our friend, but, we'll age out. But others will be. I suspect that Devin and Mike will be here in 50 years based on their current age. I hope and pray that they are. But will we have a democracy in 50 years? That's part of the question. So let us know what you think by sending us a text, of course, at 773-763-9278, or give us a call, because I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sure there's some folks out there all over the country that have got a few things to chime in on that. And go to our Facebook page to leave your comments and thoughts there. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to keep the train moving. I've got some news items of the day, some Choose Views news, and there you go. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from our good friends at WARR in Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
On the line with us is none other than Cliff Cash.
You've got to be loud. You've got to show up. You've got to stand up. You've got to speak up. And I get if you live in a red area or a red neighborhood or you have really red friends or family, it doesn't matter. Fascists feed on fear. If you ever wondered what you might have done during the Civil Rights Movement or during Nazi Germany or during any other pivotal time in history, you don't have to wonder, because what you would have done is what you're doing now. And if you're being fearful and quiet, then you're part of the problem, and you would have been in those historic moments as well. So put a sign in your yard, post on social media, and take these people to task. And all you have to do is learn the truth, because they're going around screaming lies. And only about half of us are out here even whispering the truth.
Keep listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you are just tuning in, we had a couple of Choose Views news items and some news headlines that we might want to share with you. On this June 30th, 2026, Supreme Court rules Trump can't fire Fed's Lisa Cook. They ruled that Donald Trump cannot immediately fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook while her lawsuit contesting the dismissal is ongoing. Justices expressed skepticism about the grounds of her removal in a 5-4 ruling. Since Fed governors can only be removed for cause, Cook will stay on board for the time being, and she denies allegations that she committed mortgage fraud before becoming Fed governor. A separate high court decision on Federal Trade Commission gave Trump latitude to fire leaders at other agencies. So what you guys heard about. The importance of this ruling, though, is that we tie these things to agency heads, and we know that Pulte is now going to be moving in the direction of being, in the securities side of our agencies. So this is an important ruling, 5-4. and who switched sides, if you will, in the SCOTUS rankings. The numbers to watch this week: jobs, to call it a birthday present for the United States. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is set to release the June jobs report. Thanks to the 4th of July holiday, Thursday's drop is expected to show job growth moderating somewhat after May's unexpected blowout. Today, the board will release the Consumer Confidence Survey, which measures how optimistic Americans are about the economy. That's going to be an interesting report. I'm going to try to grab that today. And then tomorrow, payrolls processor ADP will release its June employment report. And then again on Thursday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will release its jobs report for June. So there you go. British American Tobacco to cut 9,000 jobs in a major revamp. They're about to cut a fifth of its global workforce, according to Bloomberg. The maker of Camel cigarettes will eliminate about 5,500 roles and outsource another 3,500 by the end of 2026 as part of a significant cost-cutting push, they say. The company confirmed the layoffs, but not the exact number. They're overhauling its business to focus on smoke-free nicotine products like vapes and pouches instead of traditional cigarettes. And SCOTUS is going to hear a long-standing PepsiCo trademark dispute. Mountain Dew is headed to the Supreme Court. The High Court said yesterday it will hear a trademark infringement case lodged by Rise Brewing against food and beverage giant PepsiCo. Rise, which makes canned coffees, is accusing PepsiCo of trying to destroy a leading competitor with its Mountain Dew Rise product, an energy drink geared towards morning drinkers. PepsiCo and Rise have been battling out in court since 2021, even though the drink discontinued 2 years ago. And World Cup fans bring burst of energy to the MLB stadiums. The Miami Marlins barely drew 10,000 people on a typical night. Barely draw, I should say, 10,000 people on a typical night. But 20,000 screaming fans filled the Lone Depot Park for a recent game. They were part of Scotland's Tartan Army in town for the World Cup match against Brazil, and they're helping make Major League Baseball a secondary winner of this summer's tournament. Scottish fans also took over Boston's moorbound Fenway Park, while hundreds of Norwegians performed rowing chants in the bleachers at Citi Field, home of the New York Mets. Marlins starter Tyler Phillips termed the energy unbelievable. So there you go, guys. A couple of quick Choose Views news items on this Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. Today on Live, Local and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be taking your calls and talking to Professor Stephen Schwinn of the University of Illinois School of Law, Anna Gomez, Commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission, and Mike Nellis, Democratic strategist and host of Endless Urgency with Mike Nellis. That's Live, Local and Progressive weekdays here on WCPT 2 to 5, heartlandsignal.com, and TuneIn. Tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Heidi Stevens, nationally syndicated columnist, and Jen Goldbeck, professor of computer science, as well as, wait a minute, sorry about that. She is going to be talking about the MAGA report and talks about her Substack articles on Jeffrey Epstein and MAGA. So there you go. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And then tomorrow on Choose Views, I'll be taking your calls and having the last of our America at 250 conversations. And the topic will be on the First Amendment. And then, of course, we'll include our author and professor, Kevin Schultz, will be talking about the history of the First Amendment. Jane Kirtley, professor of media ethics and law at the University of Minnesota and former executive director of the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. And Gloria Brown Marshall, who's also a professor and writer and activist, who'll be with us as well. She's written the wonderful book, A Protest History of the United States. We'll be talking with Yvette Clarke, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and author, founder of the States Project Daniel Squadron later in the week. So just to keep you guys up to speed on that, and make your way over to our podcast, our featured interviews and full episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, all those places. That's where you can go to get all the good stuff that we produce here. So going back to our question, based on the past 50 years and how things have panned out till now in 2026, Do you think we will have a 300th birthday celebration or democracy to celebrate in 50 years? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that. Talked a moment ago in Choose Views News about what's happened with Trump and or I should say SCOTUS and Trump with regard to the rulings on firing heads of agencies and also not being able to fire Lisa Cook. So there's a lot that the Supreme Court they're kind of shifting around a little bit. So there was a 6-3 decision on firing heads of agencies and a 5-4 decision on the voting rights. I'm sorry, not the voting rights, but the mail-in ballots. So a couple of things that are bouncing around. One of them, the Supreme Court, they basically are saying to Republicans, you got to play fair, at least at this point, in the midterms. They ruled that the ballots postmarked before the election day but arriving after it can be counted. Trump is invoking the Save America Act, and of course, it's going to be a drag, I believe, on the Republicans, but they deserve it. They've earned that drag. They've earned this sort of skepticism that's going to come for them trying to affect how so many people in this country vote for a variety of reasons. Trump tried to say yesterday during a press conference that the folks, the only people that are really impacted by mail-in voting are people that are in the military, people that may have a medical issue, and a couple of other areas that he listed. But that's not true. It's not even close to being true. In fact, it's inaccurate. It could be referred to as a lie, but we'll call it inaccurate. I'd rather say he's just stupid and not knows what really goes on rather than calling him a lie in this particular case. But in this case, mail-in balloting is not just something that benefits those who are in the military or that may have a medical condition that prevents them from getting to the polls. It is for, frankly, convenience in many states. That is their primary mechanism for voting in many elections, not just the general election. 18. So I'll give you a couple of quick pieces about this. Some of the legal experts were not surprised that Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined the liberals on the court and Chief Justice John Roberts also to uphold a grace period for mail-in ballots that are postmarked before Election Day. Now, 18 states have a grace period. 12 of the states have a grace period for overseas and military ballots, as we spoke about a moment ago. Roberts and Barrett were skeptical and more questioning of the Republican position during oral arguments. So the court watchers were not shocked that the ruling came down the way that it did. The unintended consequences of the ruling included sending the 80-year-old president off the deep end as he demanded the passage of the Republican senators of the Save America Act. So Jody and I will talk about this in the 7:30 hour, but the Save Act, or he likes to call it the Save America Act, is really the thing that he is trying to force down the throats of the Republicans in the House and the Senate, from everything that I've read and watched, as his sort of weight to force them to vote for this in the way in which he wants it to be voted for, or else he's not going to sign this housing affordability bill. So Republicans, let me be clear, the cheating that they say is taking place, Mike Johnson and Donald and other Republicans that are part of the administration, part of the cabinet, doesn't exist. The data backs it up. The people that follow our elections are smarter than Mike Johnson and Donald Trump times 10. They know more about election security than the two of them do. Don't believe them. Believe the experts in the field, because they're bipartisan experts, left, right, and in the middle. And before we go to break, I just want to say this. You talked about you voted for Donald Trump this time around for things like, well, I didn't know Kamala Harris. I wasn't familiar with her. She didn't speak to me the right way. I wanted to be fed the information with a silver spoon, and she fed it to me with a bronze spoon. All the things that you made up, which are BS. But here's what I'll tell you. He ran on affordability, but he's holding up signing a bill because he's trying to force a voting act down everyone's throat. Think about that for a second, Republicans. We're going to take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, 1520 AM 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu, and we will be right back.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. All it takes is a little preparation. Get to the airport early, bring a carry-on bag that fits in the overhead, and have an acceptable ID. Not all state-issued IDs will cut it. Check out tsa.gov/ID and see which TSA acceptable IDs make the grade, like a real ID or passport.
Before you jet, do a little prep, and you're good to go. Check out tsa.gov/ID or the MyTSA app.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Behind every meal are the efforts of our farmers and farm workers, whose work feeds our families and powers our communities. For more than 30 years, AgSafe has supported this industry with the knowledge and resources needed to keep workers safe and thriving. We partner with agricultural employers to strengthen safety practices and provide hands-on training. Safety isn't paperwork, it's people, community, and peace of mind. Learn more about our work at agsafe.org. Sponsored by agsafe.org.
A message from Tia Mori, actress and Fair Celebrity Ambassador.
Game day isn't staged, it's lived. It's the shopping, the cooking, the laughter. For families managing food allergy, preparation means everything. It's knowing the signs, having a plan, and carrying epinephrine everywhere life takes you. Because readiness doesn't take away the risk, it brings back the joy. When you're ready to act, you're ready to live.
Visit foodallergy.org/ready to act to learn more.
Chicago's Progressive Talk WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Find rebates and discounts on energy-efficient products at ComEd.com/home savings.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu. There's some other things that are going on that I think we require a little bit of conversation in terms of some headlines. So we got a clip. I think we've got it ready for you. We're going to play this, and then I want to circle back to something earlier from Senator Chris Murphy that I want you guys to hear, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut.
It's no secret. Voters aren't super happy with establishment Democrats or establishment Republicans these days. I will say, though, what binds together, I think, every Democratic candidate that is running, including the ones in New York, is that they are standing up to protect American democracy. And right now, the biggest threat to this country are not a handful of House candidates in New York. It is the President of the United States that is trying to destroy American democracy, and the Democratic Party, left, right, and center, is united around the fact that we need to protect this nation from Donald Trump's attacks on the rule of law.
Okay, to that end,
Okay, that was Senator Chris Murphy, U.S. Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut on Meet the Press. And when I saw this clip, I thought about this in relationship to something that I spoke about a little bit yesterday with Pastor Gaillard, but also I called into Stephanie Miller's show yesterday because she was talking about the purity test, and I had a couple comments that I wanted to share with Steph about that. Okay, there were folks that were in Texas that showed up at Cory Booker was speaking at an event. Senator Cory Booker was speaking at an event, and there were some folks that showed up, and they were protesting and yelling and screaming and so forth. Calling him out for the money that he's taken from AIPAC in the past and so forth. That's what happened. So I want to try to build a little bit of a bridge here. Someone said to me the other day, I got a person actually said to me, Richard, you push back on the Democratic chair when he was talking about what the Democrats this, the Democrats that. And I thought that you were, you were being a little bit defensive. And I said, well, yeah, I was. Sometimes being defensive is okay. That's interesting thing about how we look at words and their definition. Being defensive isn't a bad thing. It's perceived as being defensive. And the reason that I pushed back, and he got it, he was cool with it, is because it was once again one of our voices saying things that are just bad about our party or not saying the things that we should be saying about who's really hurting us right now. Okay? None of the things that have happened in the last 24 to 48 hours when it comes to what this administration is doing are being propped up or cheered on by Democrats. The Democratic leadership federally is pushing back. The Democratic leadership on a state level, on a local level, are pushing back against this administration. And all of the men, can't use that, those are my guys, all of the sycophants that are keeping this craziness going. And I just have to say that what Senator Murphy said is so true. We as Democrats got a lot of work to do. We know that. And that's what I was saying last week. We have a lot of work to do. And that's kind of exciting because it means we get to change things and fix the narrative and make the narrative better. But some of these protest groups, I get it that we've got to make certain that people that are holding office and that are running for office are going to do a better job from our side. We have to do that. At the same time, I guess this is really what I'm trying to say is the walk and chew gum component is critically important. I would rather see those groups that showed up where Senator Booker was, I'd rather see them show up at a Republican event. I'd rather see them show up at a Republican senator's event rather than at a Democratic senator's event. Because I'm telling you guys that that's giving Republicans just too much too much ammunition to fight us with as we get closer to the midterms. They already have the House. They have the Senate. And yes, I know the momentum is moving in our direction, but they have enough tools. We don't need to give them more. And so I would rather see these protest groups show up at Republican events and fight and push back against what they're not doing on a federal level because they're the ones that have the power right now based on the numbers. And they're the ones that are propping up what Donald Trump and the administration are doing. The Republicans, I'll give you an example. When we talked last week with, drawing a blank on her name now, that's running for Kelda Royce, that's running for governor in Wisconsin. And we talked with some other people about what the state legislature's powers are and how they've been able to kind of defang Democratic elected officials in blue states because they have the legislature. So that just goes to show that the legislature has depending on the balance of power, has the power to slow down what a Democratic governor is trying to do, what a Democratic attorney general and secretary of state is trying to do. So on a federal level, the Republicans right now have that same ability to slow Donald Trump down, to block his power. If they did their job, so not Congress, but Republicans did their job, then this craziness that we see would not be happening in the way in which it is. And whether you want to start with the tariffs, whether you want to start with Medicare and Medicaid, when you want to talk about subsidies, whether you want to talk about the ugly bill, you want to talk about the war in Iran. Republicans all have the ability in Congress to stop that, to slow it down, worst case scenario. And so when I see people showing up at an event where a Democrat is trying to make points and get things done and strengthen the party to the best of our ability, whether it be Cory Booker, whether it be Joe Biden, whether it be any Democrat that's running. I just want people to be a little bit more mindful about that, because it's enough that we have, Republicans not doing their job, but then to attack Democrats at the same time. And don't get me wrong, the folks out there that are far more, to the left and say that the Democrats need to do more, I hear where you're coming from. I'm just saying right now, if we really believe in our ability to take back Congress and to be able to fight on all levels, there comes a point where we all have to take some responsibility and say, over criticizing our party could be detrimental. I know that we've got folks that are strongly left and hate that Democrats are doing certain things that they've done. I get that. Those that have taken AIPAC, and it's not just AIPAC money. I said this last week. That's why I didn't ask Mayor Biss about AIPAC. I asked him about dark money and campaign election reform. Those are all things that Democrats have to fight for. There's no question about it. And we all have our point where we're tired of the strongly worded letters. I get that. But when I see groups taking shots at Democrats right now, I ask myself this question. First of all, I'll be honest about this. Are they really Democratic folks, Mike, or are they paid hecklers? I mean, we hear from Trump about, these are paid antagonists or whatever the hell he calls them. But maybe when it's someone that's pushing back on Republicans, maybe there are folks out there that are these paid, hecklers and paid detractors. I don't know. I'm asking the question, and whether it's true or not is really less relevant than the fact that if they are our people, we need to get them to slow their roll. And as we get through the summer and we get closer to the fall, the real push in this fall, we can't have folks showing up at events trashing Democrats if they're not going to do the same thing to a Republican. So that's the walk and chew gum part of that. If you're going to go to a Democratic event or an event where a Democrat is speaking, and you're going to go there and trash talk and complain and heckle and yell and scream, that's your right. But you should do the same thing to the Republican that's in that same state. If there's a Republican in your state that's an elected member of the House of Representatives, you should be showing up. If you're going to show up at an event for a Democrat, spend some time at a Republican event too. Because see, it's easy to go to a Democrat event because it's you're welcome there. People don't know. But you go to a Republican event, that takes some real guts. Show up at an opposition event. That's what I want to see. Someone just sent me a good one. The circular firing squad. I couldn't even say it. We need to aim at them, not ourselves. Thank you, 630. That's exactly right. Thank you for helping me get through that. We need to aim at them, not at ourselves right now. We can do that later or do it behind closed doors. All of us, me included. And every now and again, I may have some things to say about something that happened. But I think that that's where we have to be right now. And I'm going to keep repeating this because when I saw what happened at that event, and then, of course, this also happened, I was reminded President Biden spoke at the Maryland Democratic State Convention. That's got to stop, y'all. It's easy to have that fight with our own, but what kind of guts do you have to go and stand in another arena, the true opposition, just like Senator Chris Murphy said? That's who we need to be fighting against. We need to be protesting against what Donald Trump is doing in the GOP. And I have to keep saying it because I know what's going to happen. As we get closer to the election, there's going to be more of this happening at the midterms. It's going to be more of this happening, and there are going to be more people that are going to get sidetracked looking for the purity test to be met. And I can tell you guys, if we mess this up because we're trying to get the perfect candidate, the ones that haven't had anything, or they've never taken AIPAC money, they've never done this, and they've never done that, that's going to be a problem. And I'll give you a good example. Graham Plattner is leading in the polls, but look at look at what he had to go through to get to the point where he's leading in the polls against Susan Collins. But are people showing up at his events protesting about things? If they are, if they are not, the point is we got to win that seat. And I said this from the very beginning when the things that came out about him came out and the things that came out a few weeks ago. As much as I hate it and feel like we can't make a mistake there, we've got to win that seat. So protesters, folks that have an opinion about things, at some point you got to redirect that energy and stop firing at our own and start firing at them, because at the end of the day, the numbers bear this out. They are the ones that are causing us to go through what we're going through right now. If Republicans in the House of Representatives stood up and exercised their power on Donald Trump, he would not be able to do the things that he's doing in the way in which he's doing it, and that's a fact. And also, when it comes to what he's tearing down, Republicans are standing in the way of the Republicans are giving him a free pass rather than standing in the way of that. That's what's really happening. So let's take a quick break, guys. The number, of course, is 773-763-9278. When we come back, we're going to grab some calls. You're listening to Choose Views, of course, on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from the good folks down in Warren County, North Carolina, and now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, we'll take some of your calls. We'll be right back.
The Sports Cubicle. Economics professor at Smith College, Massachusetts, Andrew Zimbalist.
When Chicago is approached, or Illinois is approached for new public funds to build yet another stadium, it shouldn't be, hey, this is going to be an economic boon for the city. It's not going to be. It should be, how much is it worth to us culturally to keep these teams here?
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Shivari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
Hey progressives, it's Richard Chu, host of Choose Views weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central. We're all anxious for the 2026 midterm election to arrive so we can restore some sanity and much needed oversight to our government. In fact, it's the most important midterm election in American history, and Choose Views will be in the thick of it, bringing you candidate interviews on a regular basis. I'll be talking to Democratic Party hopefuls running for House and Senate at the federal and state level, as well as candidates for governor and other state and local offices.
I am in love with our ability to fight for our rights, to fight for our future, to fight for our freedoms, to fight as our ancestors fought. It's just our moment. This is just our time to stand up and to speak up. We can't give up on this.
If you miss any of the interviews live, you'll be able to find them all on WCPT's Candidate Interviews page at heartlandsignal.com/candidates. That's Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu. Today's question, based on the past 50 years to now, do you think we will have a 300th birthday or more specifically celebration of democracy? So got a couple comments on that, and then we're going to grab a call. And I think I touched a nerve a little bit this morning in a good way. One person says, yes, we will, because, yes, I do. Because I think that MAGA and the pendulum hasn't swung yet in the other direction. And once that happens, and I'm paraphrasing, that our brains politically will get back on track. The other part of this person's reply is because I have to have hope for the future of my children. I agree with that. But I touched a little bit of a nerve on this issue around the circular firing squad. The bill, this is a civics lesson for everybody. The bill in terms of the affordable housing bill being held hostage. Any bill, just a quick civics lesson, guys, and I remind you of this, that is passed automatically becomes law if not signed by the president after 10 days. And that was talked about greatly yesterday. And there's not enough votes, that's correct, to override a veto. So repeat that over and over again, guys. He's got 10 days, I think. Now it's 8 days because I believe it was signed yesterday. So the clock's ticking on that. A couple other quick comments. Let me see if I can grab these and then we'll grab a call. Yes, by not showing up to protest the Republicans, it absolves them of responsibility and doesn't push the conversation. Correct. That comes from our folks over in Michigan. What else we got here? Lois says, we as Democrats have to stay united. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Democrats are not perfect, but we have to win congressional elections, or Trump will only get more power. I agree. Our democracy will be around in 50 years, yes, but only if the power of the presidency is reduced. The executive branch has too much power right now, and he's trying to accumulate more. Lois, you're absolutely correct. Let me guess if I can grab another one. Every chance the Republicans are on the media, they get to say Trump's approval, and they say Trump's approval is in the tank, meaning the media. It's followed up by Republicans saying, yeah, but no one likes the Democrats either, and that's got to stop. I completely agree. That comes from Florida. And let's see what else we can grab real quickly. That's a long one. We'll have to we'll have to hold tight on that for a bit. All right, let's grab a quick call and see what we can say. Mary Pat, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. Interesting discussion this morning. We're all human. Cory Booker is a human. The man in the White House is a human being. He's not divine, as some people want to try to make us think he is. And the point is, stop looking for excuses not to vote.
Yeah. Mary Pat, wow, you must have been in my brain. I was driving in this morning thinking about thoughts for the show, and I was like, a lot of people were just looking for a reason to find fault in Kamala Harris, and they didn't vote. Let's just call it as it is. Stop finding reasons. Mary Pat is right. Say that again, Mary Pat.
Stop looking for excuses not to vote.
Yep. What brought you to that conclusion? What brought you to that thought?
Well, because I hear people younger than myself, unfortunately one of them is my son, who spouts off about how much he doesn't like Trump, how much he didn't like Biden, and then he didn't vote. He stayed home. And, we got to have the votes. People go to vote411.org. It's a site that's out there sponsored by the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan group, and they help you check your voter registration to make sure it's good to go, and they can help you find where your polling place is.
Smart move. Yeah, I mean, and that's got to be challenging for anybody to have someone that's that close to them, a child or a spouse or, another family member or business colleague or coworker that says that they didn't like either of the candidates. They just didn't vote for, Trump or for Harris or other elections for that matter. Stop finding excuses not to vote because they're really not reasons. If you think about it, Mary Pat, they're not reasons, they're excuses. That's a good point.
Right.
Very, very good point.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Would you repeat the name of that site again, please?
Vote411.org.
Okay. Vote411.org. I can tell you're in the car, and that means you're probably on your commute. So I know you catch us when you're on your way in, but be safe today in your drives. And you got any big plans for this for the end of the week and 4th of July?
I'm good. I've been under a lot of stress at work, so I'm going to take the day to just rest and relax. And quite frankly, I'm not feeling very celebratory this year.
Yeah, I hear you. I really do. But listen, Mary Pat, we got you, as you know. Let's, like you said, don't find a reason or excuse to not vote. find the reasons and the privilege of being able to vote and go with that. So thank you for that reminder this morning.
Great. Thank you. Have a good day.
I will. You too. And have a great rest of the week. Get some rest.
I will.
All right.
Okay.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's funny that she said that, because I was thinking this morning and, about that very point. A lot of people were looking for reasons to not vote for Kamala Harris and other Democrats for that matter, rather than taking responsibility and saying, you know what, look at the tea leaf. Because this is what got me. I was looking at an article about E. Jean Carroll, and she's kind of become Trump's kryptonite in many ways, because it's not, and that's the other thing that happened. So yes, I can't not read about that. But I was thinking about this article, and let me read through a little bit, and then I'll come back, and then we're going to get to the break. E. Jean Carroll remains Trump's kryptonite, and he can't stand it. He's dodged accountability on almost every issue and the scandal, but one person who continues to hold him accountable is E. Jean Carroll. And the amount of money that was awarded, he's got to pay now. So, keeping it simple, I thought about that as I was coming in this morning and then thinking about, what is it? The dude is holding up a bill on affordability of housing, and he ran supposedly on making everything less expensive on day one, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of BS. So, this was, again, a situation where how could you legitimately look at him and what he did in the first term and COVID and these lawsuits and all of those things, and then actually say to yourself in your right mind, yeah, I'm going to vote for him again. And so this is the message that I think more of us have to get back to, because we've gotten distracted in some ways with all the things that have been happening. We have to get back to the fact that this guy is a 34-time convicted felon, twice adjudicated rapist. And a certain number of people made that okay and voted for him versus voting for a woman who had a resume that you would have paid millions of dollars to have that kind of a resume to run for any kind of office. So people, I appreciate the way that Mary Pat put this. People stop finding excuses to not vote or to vote in ways that are harmful to you, unless you actually believe in that garbage. You actually wanted a president who was a 34-time convicted felon, twice adjudicated rapist, and a guy that said, basically, in simple terms, that if he were in a room with your mother, sister, auntie, daughter, and he felt that he was privileged enough, he would grab her by her private parts. We have to remind Americans who voted for Donald Trump that that's who you voted for. Even if you don't want to talk about the tariffs, even if you don't want to talk about the war in Iran, even if you don't want to talk about the way in which he mishandled or put forward this bill and mishandled Medicare and Medicaid. All of those things, which are the affordability items at the end of the day, or indirectly affordability items, you voted for a person that would do that to your daughter, your sister, your mother, your auntie, your favorite female cousin. That's what you voted for. So we have to remind people that that's really who you voted for a second time around. And it's the Republicans, guys, that we have to fight against, not ourselves. The circular firing squad way of being from the protest groups and all the rest, even people that you know that you're friends. We got to stop doing that, or put it on pause until we win back the midterms and win back some of these state houses and other important elections. So we're going to take a break. It's the top of the hour. I want to hear from you again throughout the rest of the show. But when we come back, we'll be talking with Nicholas Enrich, who will bring us up to speed on some of the other dirt that's gone on with this Trump administration as it relates to USAID. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. That's WARR. And now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
frog in boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As veterans, we tell ourselves the lie that we can handle anything. We let the water boil. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
A loved one owns a gun, and for a while now, you've been concerned about their behavior. They're just not acting like themselves. They've been distant, they've been unpredictable, they've been lashing out. They've been saying things that make you worried they might harm themselves or friends or family. Or you're worried this loved one might hurt you. Maybe they recently threatened someone with their gun. You know something needs to be done, and you wish more than anything you could hit pause on this situation. Well, here in Illinois, you can, with a firearm restraining order. In extreme cases, this order temporarily prevents a person in crisis from having a firearm, giving them time to heal before they do something dangerous or even deadly. If you are worried about a loved one in crisis who has access to a firearm, learn more about firearm restraining orders at illinois.gov/pause to heal. A public service announcement brought to you by the Illinois Department of Public Health, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. The Supreme Court today will rule on the constitutionality of President Trump's order on birthright citizenship, declaring that children born to parents who are in the U.S. illegally or temporarily are not American citizens. The decision comes on the final day of a Supreme Court term that's centered on Trump's expansive claims of presidential power. New Mexico's governor says the state could seek billions in civil damages after DEA agents knowingly allowed fentanyl shipments to hit the streets. The AP's Jennifer King has more.
Authorities in New Mexico are demanding accountability after learning that federal drug enforcement agents repeatedly allowed shipments of fentanyl to flow into drug-plagued communities between 2023 and 2025 in a bid to build bigger cases.
We're outraged. This is a stunning failure by the federal government.
New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham spoke at a news conference with state and local law enforcement leaders.
The DEA stood silently by and watched thousands of fentanyl pills get distributed with no arrests, no effort.
Whistleblower David Howell told the Associated Press the strategy amounted to a gamble with public safety and may have violated Justice Department rules. The state is launching a criminal investigation, and the governor says they may also seek civil damages.
Venezuela's government says more than 1,700 people are reported dead after last week's earthquakes. Concerns are growing about how to care for thousands of people who have been left homeless. Pope Leo XIV has made his first major appointment of a woman to the Holy See hierarchy, promoting Italian sister Alessandra Smerelli to head the Vatican office responsible for migrants, the environment, and development. This is AP News. Pop royalty attended the funeral for music executive Clive Davis. The AP's Ed Donahue has more.
Kenny G played a mournful sax solo. Bruce Springsteen said Davis was not the most humble person in the music business.
Clive was big and bombastic and brave and full of ideas and just believed.
Davis died at his Manhattan apartment at the age of 94. Dionne Warwick told the story about how Davis urged her to work with Barry Manilow in the 70s. She initially resisted. Clive Davis gave Alicia Keys her start.
You never asked me to shrink. You always asked me to expand.
Jennifer Hudson was in tears after singing a song from another artist whose career was launched by Clive Davis, Whitney Houston.
I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme heat warning remains in effect. We'll see sunny skies here for today with a high in the mid-90s. Southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly clear, a low near 78. By Wednesday, sunshine high of 96 degrees. Thursday, sunny high of 95. Friday, chance for showers and storms, high around 92. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 79.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges, mental health struggles, housing obstacles, food insecurity, and social isolation, to name just a few. I'm Bob Woodruff. My family and I started the Bob Woodruff Foundation in 2006 after I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq. Our service members had my back that day, and we need to have theirs now more than ever. At our foundation, we invest in solutions, so learn more about our work at bobwoodrufffoundation.org/success.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Absolutely excited about our next guest. And thanks to you guys for your posts on Facebook and for your text messages this morning, both on the question of the day and the comments I made about let's stop the circular firing squad. And I want to give a shout out to one of our colleagues down in North Carolina, Don Brumfield, sent me a great text about what Mary Pat said about we have to, make sure that we're stop finding excuses not to vote. We'll put something together on that. So I appreciate Don giving us that reminder. Here's a reason to vote because we're having our agencies torn apart, and our next guest can speak to that in real world terms. We talk about putting it on the line. This gentleman put it on the line for the greater good, not for any selfish reasons. I can tell you from everything that I've read. And with us this morning is New York Times best-selling author and former acting assistant administrator for global health at USAID, and that would be our good man, Nicholas Enrich. Good morning, Nicholas, and welcome to Choose Views.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I guess, as I say oftentimes, dive into the deep end of the pool on this. Take a moment, if you could, Nicholas, and share with our audience what took place, what you did, and why you did it.
Yeah, I had worked at the U.S. Agency for International Development, the foreign aid branch of the federal government, for about 12 years. When the Trump administration came in, and unfortunately had a front row seat to Elon Musk and Doge dismantling the agency illegally, unethically, in a destructive manner that we're still seeing the effects of today, with over 750,000 people having died in the past year due to the cuts. While I was there, I witnessed and unfortunately in some cases was forced to participate in the destruction of our programs, the dismantling of our staff, and the termination of the contracts that we use to constitute our life-saving programs, and ultimately decided that I couldn't stay silent as our institution was being destroyed, and wrote a series of memos documenting the destruction. And as I sent those out, I was placed on administrative leave and my career was ended.
And then you went to this phase of your life where you're now informing us on that very thing that happened. So, I don't like too many labels for folks. You stood up and told the truth. Whistleblower is the commonly used phrase for someone that, speaks the truth about things that are going on that people need to hear about. But how does it make you feel, and what do you think about when you are referred to as such in terms of a whistleblower? I mean, even, you know, in the title of your book, you kind of put that in the mix. But how do you take those words or take that label?
Yeah, I mean, becoming a whistleblower was not on my bingo card. It was not something I ever anticipated to be a part of what I did. I was a civil servant. That was sort of my career. That's how I saw myself. You know, sometimes being a civil servant means, well, always being a civil servant means instituting the policies of the administration, even when you don't agree with those. But you know, that does not assume that those policies would be in violation of law or public health and safety. And that was what I quickly began to see what was happening with the Trump administration and DOJ at USAID during the first few months of the Trump administration. And I decided that I couldn't stay silent, and I needed to stand up and explain to the world that this was not okay. I mean, listening to some of the world's most powerful people, including Elon Musk, lie publicly about what was happening inside the agency kind of was the last straw for me that made me feel like I needed to speak up and speak out.
One of the ways that your book is described, and let me tell folks the name of the book, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. The book is called Into the Wood Chipper, a whistleblower's account of how the Trump administration shredded USAID. Okay, one of the descriptions of the book, which I thought was very interesting, and for me reading it proved out. It's a gripping page turner that doubles as both a warning and inspiration. So when you hear those words, based on what you saw, Nicholas, how do those land? A warning, and then as an inspiration?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that I wrote this book was as a warning. I really wanted readers to understand, what potentially can happen, and give the example of how one of America's best ideas that had broad bipartisan support and a congressionally authorized agency that had been around for 60 years, saving 92 million lives just over the last 20 of those years, could be dismantled by a group of uninformed and unqualified sycophants in the matter of weeks. People who knew nothing about the agency, just because nobody stood up and said something. And, it made me wonder, which of our other democratic institutions are at risk if USAID was. And so I hope that my story will serve as a warning, and hopefully will serve as a reminder that, at a time when our democratic institutions are increasingly at risk, people are struggling with when do they need to say, hey, this is no longer okay, and stand up and speak out. And I hope my story is an example that normal people make important choices every day. And when the time comes that others need to stand up and speak out about what's going on, I hope they do so.
Yeah, the book is really phenomenal and fascinating. And I love it. It's got sort of the component of kind of a spy novel or a mystery novel, maybe not mystery novel, but more of a spy novel, and the way that you kind of broken it up in parts talks to the warning part, which is kind of the first part of the book, part one, the storm clouds, and then the second part is kind of gets into that inspiration and what we can do to fix this or prevent ourselves from having this happen again. But ultimately, Nicholas, as you saw it from the inside, it comes down to, as a country, we just can't elect people or have people around our political officials whose goal is to tear down our government and tear down our agencies. The Supreme Court just gave, the as I call them, the Orange Menace, another gateway to do more of this type of destruction. How does that land with you?
Yeah, well, first, I wish it was a novel. Unfortunately, everything in that book is all too true.
I know.
Yeah, no. But sometimes it reads that way, and that was part of why I wanted to put this together. Because I think that, however cruel, however stupid, however incompetent people saw what DOJ was doing in the beginning of 2025. it was way worse. And that's what I really wanted to capture here. And, you know, I think that this was the message that I was trying to convey. Like, I agree with what you're saying, that we can't allow our institutions to be destroyed in a way that not is just bad for those institutions, but sets this horrendous precedent about, you know, the separation of powers, about what democracy means in America. But, you know, also it was the people who were doing it, the level of indifference and misunderstanding and incompetence of what was happening, what the agency did that they were destroying. They just didn't know how our programs were saving lives, and they just didn't care.
Yeah, and that's the part where expertise, experience, knowledge all play in, and versus having people who were in these roles purely, or put into these roles purely out of self-interest, rather than interest in what the organization's charter is supposed to have been. So we've got sycophants who don't know what the hell they're doing in places where they're causing destruction to people's lives. Nicholas, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the book, talk about the go forward, but also I want to get into a little bit of some of the things around the history of agencies that are part of the federal government. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Nicholas Enrich, who is a former civil servant who worked for USAID. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay. Joining us now on the phone is gay icons living legend, John Waters. Your body of work has shaped the lives of so many people. Like, even this morning, my neighbor was texting me. She's like, please tell him that Crybaby was my gay awakening.
Funny, because there's no gay characters in Crybaby.
I know. But there's something about, like, your movies, the embracing of camp, the embracing of tacky, the just all-out, just queer counterculture nature. Do you ever feel a responsibility for lifting the voice of the counterculture?
Well, I'm proud of it when people say that, you know, I made them feel okay about themselves. And I wrote a whole book called Role Models about the people that did that for me. Yeah. Everybody needs some bad influence they can look up to.
Keep listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is Choose Views, and I am Richard Chu. We're talking with Nicholas Enrich, who is I guess you could call him the guy that said enough's enough and it's time for me to go. But on the way out the door, I'm going to make it clear that what you guys did is wrong. And Nicholas, one of the things that I did everything I could to stay away from the word whistleblower, but one of the things that I read about this is that it when you were in those days following, you know, the release of the information around the canceled aid, because of the fact that some of the memos that you had or did release, when they went viral, they had kind of a chilling effect on what was happening with USAID. Explain to us from the inside what that was like and what actually went down and how that actually helped I won't say helped the program, but it sort of pumped the brakes a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Sure. So just to give a little bit of context, all foreign aid was frozen on the first day of Trump's administration by an executive order. Within a week or so, there was this waiver issued by Secretary of State Rubio that said, if it's life-saving aid, it can continue despite this freeze. But that was what they never let us do. That was actually what my memos were about, was that even though that waiver was out there, we were never actually able to restart our programs. And that was due to what the Doge was destroying and what the political appointees were doing to prevent us from reinstituting our life-saving programs. And in late February of 2025, that was the day that Doge terminated all the contracts that we would have needed to restart those life-saving programs of malaria, tuberculosis, HIV, even Ebola. And that was when I decided, hey, I need to get this information out there. You know, Musk is in the White House saying that he just restarted the Ebola programs, but that's the same day that the contracts to do that Ebola work were terminated. And so one of the things I exposed was how they had terminated our ability to restart those contracts. So they were lying about the fact that that life-saving programs were continuing. And right after my memos came out, many of the a few hundred, a small portion, but a significant number of the contracts that had been terminated were then unterminated by Doge to be able to get some of those programs restarted. I mean, there were still issues with providing that aid due to the cuts, but it at least unfroze a small number of the contracts that were the most critical to saving lives around the world.
Yeah, and that's thank you for helping us clarify that, because I didn't understand the kind of the order of events, but also what the impact of those events were. But again, you know, this is where you get your flowers for being courageous enough to step up and say that this is not only wrong, but it's going to immediately impact people's lives. And our job as an agency is to do just to impact in a positive way rather than in a negative way. This is maybe put you in a position of opinion versus fact, but I still want to cover this for a quick bit. With the people that have orchestrated this, taking Trump out of the equation for a moment, all the others that had their hands in this, and we'll go with Elon Musk as an example, and the label that was given last year, the Doge boys. What do you think legally we have as recourse? And I know that it's going to have to start with us winning back the House of Representatives and maybe winning back the U.S. Senate, et cetera, et cetera. But what other forms of recourse do you think that we have as a country when it comes to, for example, USAID, but now what he may try to do, Trump, in firing agency heads?
Yeah, I mean, I think that aside from the warning that we talked about earlier, the other reason that I wrote this book was to set the record straight, to hopefully one day get accountability for the actions of those who are responsible for destroying USAID. Because people might not realize this, but most of those people who came in and illegally demolished the agency are still sitting in very high levels of government and are responsible for things like the current Ebola outbreak that the U.S. government is kind of botching its response to currently. And I think that there are legal recourses that need to be taken in response to what happened to USAID, but also as safeguards for other institutions that are and have been under threat over the past year or so. And I think that those have to do with protecting the separation of powers. So making sure that Congress is the only one that can make decisions related to terminating agencies that it has established, but it also has to do with just the regular enforcement of the laws of our government. The bureaucracy was established for a reason, and Doge just came in and tore right through it. And so I think that there are several legal efforts that are ongoing into the illegal termination of the staff, the illegal termination of the contracts that were that implemented the programs, as well as the broader issue of like who were these Doge characters? They weren't government employees, so what was their authority under which they used to tear down a congressionally established agency? And I think that I guess maybe the potential optimistic side of me says that those are lawsuits that are currently ongoing. This is not over yet in terms of what happened with USAID, and hopefully in terms of setting precedent to protect federal institutions moving forward.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the number of officials that you referenced in the book, and so circling back to what you just said. You talked about a lot of people, or you referenced, I shouldn't say talked about, that sounds derogatory, but you referenced a lot of people who were part of this. Talk a little bit about what that was like in your references of key officials and how that helped you in writing the book.
Yeah, I mean, that was, one of the key reasons for me to write the book, is I wanted to establish that record. I wanted to name names because the people who took these actions need to be held responsible, and how they're held responsible is not something that I'll ever be involved in. But it was important because I had, I was the top official for global health at the time, so I witnessed the individuals who, for example, decided on like on a whim that we were no longer going to prioritize services for pregnant women or newborn children as part of our foreign assistance program because they didn't consider those to be life-saving. And I witnessed the decisions that they made to stop the implementation of Ebola prevention programs, including ones that keep Americans safe. Like, they wouldn't even allow us to screen passengers who were getting onto international flights for symptoms of Ebola before they took off. I mean, this is putting Americans at risk, not just the people around the world. And so it was, for me, it was a no-brainer that these names needed to be named. I want Americans to know who's responsible and hopefully one day hold them accountable.
Well, you did a great job of that, and I was like, wow, he did not hold back, and I can even tell the change in your voice when you were answering that question. Like, you knew you were on a mission to point out the people, and these were political appointees in pretty much every case. Am I right or wrong about that?
That's right. This was the folks that had been sent in by the Trump administration and by Doge to rip the agency apart. And some of these were people who had an axe to grind. They had been at USAID as political appointees during the first Trump administration and came in looking forward to getting rid of the staff who they felt had wronged them the first time. In fact, the guy who was my boss was a political appointee named Mark Lloyd. He told me he was excited to get rid of USAID staff because they had treated him so poorly. In fact, he accused them of, during the first Trump administration, killing his dog. So this was the kind of person I'm dealing with. This is a person who came into the agency looking forward to taking revenge on its staff. We were trying to convince him to restart life-saving programs, but how could I convince him? He thought I was a pet murderer.
Meanwhile, we had one that used to be head of a major agency in the name of Kristi Noem, but that was okay. A little bit of snark this morning. Nicholas, the other thing I want to say real quickly as we kind of wrap up, and kudos to you with the phrase that you've used a lot in terms of courage being contagious. And it took a lot of courage from you, by you, to not only release those memos and to stand on business, but to write such a wonderful book, Into the Wood Chipper. We applaud you for that because we know it's not easy. Your career was ended, but you decided to continue to fight forward. And right now, that's what we need, is more people who are willing to be willing to be courageous at this point in time. So thank you so much for that. How can folks get a copy of the book?
Yeah, I mean, it's available in your local bookstore. It's available audiobook and ebook, and you can find it online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, but ideally at your local bookstore or library.
That's right. Go to the bookstores, people. Nicholas Enrich, who is a former civil servant for USAID under 4 administrations, author of the New York Times bestseller Into the Wood Chipper, a whistleblower's account of how the Trump administration shredded USAID. Nicholas, thank you so much for not only being with us, but having the courage to write this book and to continue to speak on what took place. We appreciate you hanging out with us this morning.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the conversation.
All right. Talk with you soon. Okay, guys, let's take a quick break. 773-763-9278 is the number. You are listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, as well as our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, the Snarky Correspondent and I will have a go at it. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Tom Hartman. When retirees are asked about their biggest financial fears, the top concerns are running out of money and reducing their retirement lifestyle. What many seniors don't realize is that overpaying taxes can make those fears a reality. Most retirees focus on investment returns, but the hidden secret may be keeping more of what they earn after taxes. Brookfield Tax Planning can show you strategies many CPAs and financial advisors don't discuss, including reducing taxes on required minimum distributions, growing money safely with tax-advantaged income, and legally sheltering thousands through proactive 2026 tax planning. Remember, every dollar wasted on unnecessary taxes is a dollar you don't get to live on. 2026 tax planning needs to start right now. Don't wait until next tax season hoping your taxes will somehow be lower. Visit BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com or call 708-485-3439. That's Brookfield Tax Planning or call 708-485-3439.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT Willow Springs, is powered by ComEd. Visit ComEd.com/facility assessment to learn more about energy savings.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme heat warning remains in effect. We'll see sunny skies here for today with a high in the mid-90s. Southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly clear, a low near 78. By Wednesday, sunshine, high of 96 degrees. Thursday, sunny, high of 95. Friday, chance for showers and storms, high around 92. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 79.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu. Thanks to Nicholas Enrich for being with us this morning to talk about his role with USAID and his latest book that I think you guys should definitely grab a copy of. The book is titled Into the Wood Chipper, a whistleblower's account of how the Trump administration shredded USAID. That gets into a little bit of the conversation that we're about to have with our good friend Jody Martin, who is also known as a Snarky Correspondent. Her Substack articles are absolutely riveting. They make me laugh. They make me cheer. They make me say, hell yeah, you're right about that. But Jody's a good friend of ours, and she writes really, really great, compelling articles. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Jody Martin.
Good
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to see you at the Pride parade and all that on Sunday. Many of us were out there throwing stuff and yelling and screaming, and my voice suffered a little bit overnight on Sunday to Monday, but here we are again.
I fell asleep about 6 o'clock. I was like, no. And I was laughing with B afterwards. I was like, wait a minute. That whole entire time, Chu and I are screwing around. We didn't take one damn picture.
That's right. And it's funny. I missed the opportunity to take some pictures with other folks too, and I was like, because I was so focused on doing the right thing and being where I was supposed to be, and you know how it goes. But
you got it. You were great.
Thank you. A lot's happened in the last 24 to 36 hours. But last week, you wrote a great article. And guys, I'll read it to you, the title of it. Trump took affordable housing hostage, and now he's demanding our voting rights for the ransom. What a great title to a great article. You guys need to go over to Snarky Correspondent to check out what Jody writes. But here's basically it. Donald Trump is holding affordable housing hostage unless Congress passes his voter suppression bills, the opening sentence of Jody's article. Just think about that for a second. And I said this earlier. He would rather make it harder for us to vote than make it easier for us to have an affordable place to live. Why? Because he doesn't give a you-know-what about any of us. And that's proven itself over and over again. Jody, what was the impetus for you to write this article? And then we'll get into talking a little bit about some of the things that took place yesterday.
Sure. It's personal. I mean, I mentioned it in the article too. It's just like I've had to sleep on my friend's couch. I've had I've lost jobs, for no reason that was necessarily my fault or layoffs. Things happen, but I just feel like and it's not just me too. So when I whine, I'm whining for a lot of people. It sounds like I'm being very selfish, but I just know too many people who have dealt with being homeless. I mean, essentially, I was homeless, and it stinks. I'm sorry. I'm trying to watch my language, but it's very hard not to swear. I should have called myself the angry correspondent, but as Stephanie Miller say, I'm going to die angry. But so it's personal. It's really personal. I mean, I had to, things were bad where I was living, and I had to leave with my daughter with my mom, and the whole thing. It's without going into craziness. It's hard, and I have and this is not hyperbole. I mean, just with the way things have been going with me lately too, it's just like I don't know if I'm very grateful I have this beautiful place that I have now, but I mean, who knows? Next week could be a whole other ball of wax. I mean, literally, that is how my life is going. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And here's the thing to that point about to the connective tissue. There are so many people in our country that prior to Donald Trump evolving. I mean, he said something. Okay, let me just. I got to throw some real heavy shade at him. Yesterday during the press conference, he said that I know more about housing and building and all that than anybody does. First of all,
oh my God!
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I paused and I went, golly, he is so full of the stuff that that cows and bulls leave on the ground. And
his father and he were slumlords. They were slumlords and didn't vote to people who were black or brown. I mean, Jesus, it's all over the place. It's not
how
like
many of his properties
opinion.
went into bankruptcy? How many of his properties struggled because of his mismanagement of them? But yet, here's the thing. I said this earlier, Jody, that so many people sort of went down this path that Donald was going to fix everything. He promised all this stuff. He was lying. He's been called out twice by two women that are far more experienced than most people that have ever run for office, for president. And people said, "Nah, I'm going to go with the guy that would rather grab my woman, the women in my life by their private parts, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to vote for that once and again." But they allowed themselves to believe the line that he just made, or statement he made yesterday about, I can fix all this. I can fix it all. I'm better than anybody at this. And he's actually probably worse than most people at it because he doesn't care, like you say in your article. So I want to drill down on how so many people are at that tipping point that you talked about. And it's not people that just are folks who are maybe under the, income, the national income average. There are people who are in higher income averages that are having some of these same struggles. And that's the part where right now, people think that when we say the folks that are struggling financially or the affordability issue is of a certain economic class. It's not. Newsflash, everybody. It's not. Yeah. There are more people that are over that 6-figure income that are in the same situation of struggling because of the cost of housing at large. Mm-hmm. And it's and I don't think that we have a housing shortage. We have a housing shortage that's affordable, that's reasonable. And this is where some of our best politicians on the left, I think, get that wrong. Not wrong, but they need to say that next statement. We have a housing shortage that's affordable and reasonable. Because if you look around, you live in Chicago, you drive around Chicago, you see places where you go, we could have housing there. We could have housing there. Why don't we retrofit that place? Why don't we take that vacant building there and get it fixed up and put it on the market so that it's an affordable place for people to live? So it's not, do you see what I'm saying about it's not just
no, you're absolutely correct, though. I mean, when I think about oh, God, I'm sorry, Richard. No, because you made me think. I was having a conversation with, my daughter makes fun of me saying that I sound like I'm middle-aged, and I am, because I talk about how Wicker Park used to be cool, dirty, and full of artists, and Urbis Orbis and the Double Door, right across from each other. I mean, just different things like that. And I'm not an expert, but I don't understand why you can't service a neighborhood and not make it unaffordable. It makes me nuts that these developers come in and well, I could use Lincoln Park as a prime example. I mean, there were some beautiful houses when I was working for Alderman Smith that I was just in love with that. Well, they tore down and they made these just god-awful, ugly McMansions that, nobody can afford this crap. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the people who have been there for decades, there were people I was talking to, with all these different developments, et cetera, what was at Lincoln Yards, people were in tears when that sucker was being talked about. They did not want it to happen.
Yep.
Not at all. So it's, to your point, it's just, I love how you said that there is a shortage of affordable housing. Why can't you do it? It is possible. I don't understand why. I feel like this country makes, and it's not just this country, but just the people who are able to make these decisions, who have the money, they're just worried about themselves. They don't care. They're just going to build this next development, charge however much they can for this ugly goddess, this condo, and and then all these other things, and just push people out. And DePaul is doing that to some people. Houses got knocked down because they're going to expand the ridiculous stadium. I mean, it's just that nobody barely goes to. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on. It just makes me so crazy.
Well, I think that the point, one of the points in that is what you said about the developers. Now, that's great. We want development, but I look at some of the land. Last week I had on. I'm drawing about Eric Heinemann from the solar company. And Solar, and we talked about better use of vacant land for better green energy. Well, if we got vacant land sitting, not just in Chicago, this is all over the country. We have vacant land. Why don't we use that land to help build and develop better energy sources? We have them. We know the technology works. We know that wind and solar work. There's no question about if they work or not. They do. So if we've got the vacant land, if we're not going to build housing on it, then let's use that land to help reduce the cost of our overall energy and make our and then by doing that, our energy grids are less vulnerable, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when it comes to housing, I've been saying this for years. With all the vacant housing that we have in America, not just in Chicago, in America, that we could redo, retrofit, rebuild all these things that developers are supposed to be good at.
Right.
That to me is a starting point. It's not just let's go tear down a neighborhood because we don't like it, because we want to build something there that's going to be more expensive, whether it be commercial, because we're not really building a lot of industrial properties. We're building a lot of commercial properties and or residential that are so expensive. Let's stop just building those. Let's work on the ones that we already have and improving those so that people who are in those communities can take advantage of those. It's not, to me, it's not rocket science. It's just the goal. And this is one of those times where I will say that the left has an opportunity to really push the right politically in this space, because many times the right wants to get tax breaks or give tax breaks to politically to businesses before they want to give tax breaks to individual consumers. So that is
such a good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. But it's not something I came up with. It's right there. So Democrats push the right to not be so gullible to give tax breaks to right politicians for businesses. How about making it so that individuals and consumers can take advantage of those tax breaks and then allow them to use that saved money to go toward better housing? I don't know. Call me crazy. Jody, we're going to take a little bit of a break, as you know.
Sure.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I want to talk about the legislation that's just been signed and some things that we all are got to brace ourselves for. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and the progressive voice of Minnesota, AM 950. I'm talking with Jody Martin, the Snarky Correspondent. We'll be right back.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. If you have children, they are always going to be your special bundle of joy. And if they're a newborn baby, you want to make sure what's best for them. So here are the best baby product companies that support the Democratic Party. Procter & Gamble. Now, Procter & Gamble owns Luvs, Pampers, and All Good. In 2024, Procter & Gamble gave $599,000 to the Democratic Party, 61% of their donations. Procter & Gamble supports the Democratic Party. Kirkland Diapers. Now, Kirkland Diapers are owned by First Quality. And First Quality does not give to politics, but their employees do. And their employees lean slightly to the left, as $50,000 are donated to Democrats in 2024. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
A message from Tia Mori, actress and Fair Celebrity Ambassador.
Game day isn't staged, it's lived. It's the shopping, the cooking, the laughter. For families managing food allergy, preparation means everything. It's knowing the signs, having a plan, and carrying epinephrine everywhere life takes you. Because readiness doesn't take away the risk, it brings back the joy. When you're ready to act, you're ready to live.
Visit foodallergy.org/ready to act to learn more.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with Jody Martin, the Snarky Correspondent, as she goes by on social media, more specifically on Substack. Check out her work. Jody, one of the lines is, give me what I want first, then maybe everybody gets to go home. That's part of your most recent article. And that's really what it's come down to. I mean, Senator Chris Murphy says kind of the same thing. This bill, no matter how many times Senate Republicans tell Trump that the Save America Act is dead, and it will never get through the Senate, he continues to force Republicans to try to pass legislation that doesn't have the votes. So we're at an impasse, sort of. 8 days from now, if he doesn't sign it, it will go into law and still be stuck on the SAVE Act not getting through. So this is where Trump shows how dumb of a politician he is and how selfish he is, because he's going to box himself in on this. If he doesn't sign it, if he signs it, it's the right thing to do. He's still not going to get the SAVE Act. If he doesn't sign it, it will go into law in 8 days. He still doesn't get the SAVE Act. And now what he's done is he's put more pressure on Republicans to try to work their way through this bill. That's kind of how I see it. I mean, what are your thoughts there?
Well, everything you said is just beautifully spot on. In my very simple terms, he is a petulant little McDonald's-eating child.
No hate for McDonald's, y'all. Listen, if McDonald's is your beat, then we're not hating on McDonald's. But in the case with Donald Trump...
Sorry, I was trying to think of something not vulgar. Sorry, everybody. No, he's just... It's how he's been his entire life. I mean, what you laid down, exactly what is going to happen. I would be super duper surprised if someone didn't tell him that this was going to happen. Yeah. Does he listen? Probably not. He just does what he always does because it's always worked in the past, because people have always kissed that gigantic you-know-what that he sits on, barely. I think he sits on a donut. Anyway, but it's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm just
Here comes the snark. That's what I wanted this Tuesday morning.
You're lucky I had my tea, Mr. Chu.
That's right.
No, I told Andy I'm just waking up. And then Chu makes me follow that guy. Anyway.
Someone that's smarter than you and me when it comes to what really goes down inside of government.
Dang, that guy was fantastic.
Nicholas is right
I need to meet him someday.
Yeah,
but,
get his book.
No, but back to your thing. He's just a child. That's the only way I can really see it. It's just like he's like, well, I'm not going to do it anyway. I mean, even though it's not going to have any effect. I mean, other than it's going to get passed. And his stupid crap is not. I mean,
I actually
does he think it's going to stop it?
from a purely political and how do we continue to show him, that we can fight. I actually hope he doesn't sign it. I know that may sound crazy.
No, it makes him look more like an idiot, but hopefully people realize that.
I mean, strategically, I don't want to listen. I'm not trying to put anybody in any kind of harm's way or bad light as it relates to what this bill can represent, because it just goes. See, the reason I say that. Let me give the little bit more texture to the reason that I say it that way. It just goes to show that we don't need him. He's ineffective. Yeah. We don't need him. If he doesn't sign it in 8 days, it becomes law. We don't need him. That's how I want, and maybe that's messaging for the Democrats. We don't need Donald Trump. Let's be honest. We got this done without him. He's ineffective. Yeah. He's the petulant child, as you said. All these other descriptors that we have of him, let's just show we don't need him. And then the other side of it is it should, but it won't, wake up Republicans to say, okay, if we're going to try, and I'm like giving Republicans advice, if we're going to try to maintain our numbers in the midterms,
they need to listen to you.
Maybe we should step around him for a while, because at the end of the day, other than with the Supreme Court, he hasn't really got any power. He can't executive order himself out of what we as Republicans can do. And maybe if we did some of the things that we could do with the power that we have, we could get some Democrats to join our side and freeze him out. But that just goes back to what I've said so many times, and y'all have heard me repeat this probably ad nauseum, that the Republicans are the problem. It's not the Democrats.
And that's true. It's like when I try to I have a wonderful friend of mine from high school, and I love him to bits. You guys would adore each other because you're both silly and funny and all those wonderful things. But he likes Trump's policies, and I don't have many friends that I can tolerate who do.
Yeah.
Who can. He rehabs houses. He does all these. He does a lot of wonderful things. He does things that that Jesus would do. don't understand. I try to, and he legitimately wants to have conversations with folks about, other side, et cetera, because he doesn't understand why we feel the way we feel. But I'm even baffled by that statement. And and it's like, I don't know how to say that without sounding like I don't adore this person who's been my friend for, ever. It's trying to have conversations with these Republicans that just don't want to hear, or maybe are they just not paying attention?
No, I don't know the singular answer, because I don't think there is a singular answer. One of the things that I've really told myself to do, and I would suggest this to everybody, and you can take it for what it's worth. I would say, particularly now as we know we're going to start to ramp up even more toward the midterms, is that with the people, because I had an encounter with a dear friend who has a relative of hers that you guys heard me talk about this last week, that made a very, very flippant statement about Juneteenth. So my approach with with folks, Jody, my approach with folks like that who are where they are politically, whether they are on the right, wherever they are, when they make statements like, but I like his policies, I ask the question, what is it about the policies you like, and what specific policies do you like? Because I want them to tell me, rather than me trying to tell them, because I talk enough about it as it is. Tell me why. I want to know why. Because honestly, I think we all should, as part of our arsenal going forward, certainly in the immediate weeks and months leading up to the midterms, we should be asking, well, you tell me why. Give me more information. What am I missing? Tell me what I
think that's easier, because I've noticed, and he wasn't the only one that did that. The questions that they would ask, well, how do you feel about these little things that they think the Democrats have done or they have done or whatever? And they're very small nothing burgers. Just to make a long story short, I'm tired of having those conversations. It's like I should, with him, just because I've known him for so long and I love and adore him, which is, it's crazy. It's this dichotomy in my brain that just is bizarre. But that would be easier, just to say, what has he done?
Yeah.
That's been beneficial.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you nailed it on the head. And I've thought about that, but sometimes I just get in my own, well, blah, 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 blah. And it's not like I want to hear Jody talk, because I do that a lot, as you know. But
I think all of us are susceptible to that, Jody, to be honest, because we're all fighting so hard to move this thing forward that we want to make our case. We want to make our story. And sometimes we just don't understand what the hell is wrong with people that we care about and that we love and that we befriended and that are family, that they could even be thinking that way when they give us the impression that they're smart, people, that they're plugged in and all these other words we can use to describe them. And then they say something like that, and you go, well, wait a minute, that's not congruent with what I've been led to believe you are the person you say you are. Sometimes our first instinct is to try to rescue them from their own, driving down the road the wrong way. But inevitably,
I have to stop and think. Yeah. Oh no, and I actually thought, and I did. I had an instant message, because I'm not famous or anything, but I had to text John Fugel saying that I bought a friend of mine his book.
Right.
Because I'm Facebook friends with him, so I was like, dude, you solved all these problems. And so I bought this friend the book. I haven't had a chance to give it to him yet, because I thought, you need separation of church and hate. I think that would answer some questions.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. All right, we're gonna wrap up here, but I want to ask you the question that I asked earlier today, and we'll be going through these as the week goes on. Sure. Based on the past 50 years to now, so 1976 to 2026, do you think that we will have a 300th birthday celebration of our democracy in 50 years?
I think I'm cautiously optimistic, but then again, I'm trying to plan another American Revolution, the North versus the South again, but in a different way.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh God, that is a hard question, because will I be alive in 50 years? But for my daughter and for everybody else, God, I hope so.
Yeah. That's what we have to be. I mean, we have to be.
I really, really hope so. I know that's kind of a silly answer, but I really, really hope so.
No, it's not. I think that's why I said there's no right or wrong answer. It's kind of how we're seeing things right now. Jody, it is always a pleasure to chat with you. Thanks for hanging out a little bit this morning. Go check out her work, guys. The Snarky Correspondent on Substack. She writes good articles. They are passion-filled, full of fun too. I mean, Jody likes to cuss, so she can't cuss all the time in that venue. But we'll leave you with that, guys.
Just in public when I'm hanging out with Chew.
All right. Thanks for being with us this morning, Jody.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Talk to you soon. All right, there it is, y'all. You've been listening to Chew's Views here on WCPT, and thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Jody. Thanks to Nicholas for being with us, and thanks to our great team here. Stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show, and remember to take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
Would it be crazy if you packed your bags and left? For a week, a month, a year. What if you left for 2 years? What if you were going far away to help in a village on the edge of the Gobi Desert? To teach children and learn a thing or two about yourself? Would that be crazy? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go?
Make your 4th of July celebration unforgettable with help from Menards. Whether you're trying to beat the heat or looking for adventure, we have what you need to own the summer. Get your pool looking crystal clear with Pool Shock Treatment. It makes cleaning your pool a breeze and is on sale now through July 5th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
Amazon Business. Discover smart business buying, where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Today is the final day of the Supreme Court's term. The High Court is expected to rule on the constitutionality of President Trump's order on birthright citizenship, declaring that children born to parents who are in the U.S. illegally or temporarily are not American citizens. Yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that mail-in ballots that arrive late can be counted as long as they're postmarked by Election Day. Speaking with reporters, Trump said he was surprised by the Supreme Court's decision.
I think it was very detrimental to honest elections, but it is what it is. Basically, they're keeping it a little bit the way it is now.
The U.S. and Iran have separately announced they will send delegations to Qatar this week. Tehran, however, insists it has not agreed to meet with the U.S. at any level. Online fraud has exploded to become one of the most profitable criminal industries in the world. The AP's Haya Pinjwani reports an Associated Press and Frontline investigation found that American technology is being used to power the revolution.
In one case, Elon Musk's satellite internet service, Starlink, is the #1 internet service provider in Myanmar, including to scam centers. Eric Hines is an analyst for the International Justice Mission.
As these compounds get pushed further inward from the Thai border, the local providers in Myanmar become less reliable and aren't able to handle all the bandwidth that you would need to run a large-scale scam operation. So other ways to connect to the internet become more important.
Chris Kalousis is one person who fell victim to a scam. He said it cost him $400,000.
I worked my whole life for that, and in 6 weeks, it's mostly gone.
He says American tech companies need to do more to protect people from getting scammed. I'm Haya Pinjwani.
This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Mike Hempen. A couple of World Cup knockout games go to penalty kicks. Paraguay stuns Germany for the biggest upset of the 2026 World Cup. Morocco defeats the Netherlands, the earliest World Cup exit ever for the Dutch. In Monday's other game, Brazil edges Japan 2-1. In the NBA, Memphis is trading two-time All-Star Jay Morant to Portland in exchange for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. Free agency begins Tuesday evening. The focus is on LeBron James and what he'll do. Former NBA players Malik Beasley and Ed Davis have been indicted in the latest round of charges in the government's gambling investigation. And the NFL's Detroit Lions have released cornerback Terrion Arnold. The announcement comes days after Arnold's arrest over allegations he orchestrated the abduction and beating of 3 men. I'm Mike Hempen, AP Sports.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. An extreme heat warning remains in effect. We'll see sunny skies here for today with a high in the mid-90s. Southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly clear, a low near 78. By Wednesday, sunshine high of 96 degrees. Thursday, sunny high of 95. Friday, chance for showers and storms, high around 92. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 81.
Chicago's Progressive Talk WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Find rebates and discounts on energy-efficient products at ComEd.com/home savings.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water. Then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
How do you know your home? At Habitat for Humanity, we believe it's when you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Not because of chance, but because of high costs and other very real barriers. A housing crisis this big needs all of us. So let's open the door to opportunity and build a tomorrow where home is possible for everyone. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. Again, that's Habitat.org. Habitat for Humanity. Let's open the door.
Hi, I'm Kevin Love. People see the NBA career, the championship ring, but what they don't always see is the anxiety or the moments I felt completely lost. That's why Sony Pictures Animation's film GOAT means so much to me. It's about Will Harris, a small goat who believes in himself and proves you don't have to be the biggest to be a champion.
Everyone's always told me smalls can't ball. I'm too blessed to be stressed. Everything I need to succeed is right here.
Through the Kevin Love Fund, we've created GOAT Beyond the Game, a completely free curriculum for teachers, coaches, parents, and youth programs. 4 lessons designed for kids K through 8 that cover everything from managing anger to building resilience to believing in yourself when the world doubts you. These are evidence-based tools that actually work and will help kids discover that they have the power to change the game. Go to kevinlovefund.org right now and download GOAT Beyond the Game for free.